With the introduction of modifiers and many armor changes, the most optimal armor has changed slightly. Since I didn't make a video about the best armor in a while, I might as well make one now. Instead of making one best armor combination, I'll be giving a list of the best armor pieces for you to choose from, since it's ultimately up to you to decide what armor build fits your playstyle. I did update my armor calculator website to include Atlantean, drawback, and other modifiers. There's also another gear builder website which you can use to change some jewels or armor pieces around to fit your desired stats. Before we get started finding the best armor builds, we first must know what the meta is. Can we finally have a size or intensity meta? Nope, it's all speed and agility. The startup formula for attack speed was changed from division to subtraction, making it possible to reach 0 startup. Agility is straight up annoying, especially if you are a mage or a conjurer with a lot of attack speed. In fact, agility is so strong when combined with attack speed that Arcane Odyssey's official esports has banned builds with over 150 agility. Now that we covered the current meta, let's start with the modifiers. Many of the normal defense armors such as the titanium and deluxe iron sets are now better than boss drops if they have a modifier. Normally, they have 145 defense or 194 for the chestplate, which is slightly more than boss drops. The sorcerer and archer sets which give power become equal to the boss drops, but they can still give extra power or defense if you want to focus on primary stats. While most of them follow the same stat ratios as enchants and jewels, Frozen is slightly lower at 53 defense. Since defense is still a very important stat and Frozen is much more common than Blasted, the Frozen modifier is still a good modifier. If you want more size or speed, you should use the Archaic and Crystalline modifiers since they will have a slightly better stat ratio with defense due to Frozen giving 53 defense instead of 54. Drown could be decent if it didn't have random stats missing. Overall, the only modifiers you should use are Frozen, Blasted, and Crystalline. The Arc Sphere, previously overshadowed by the Arcanium Bracelet, is once again the best accessory or general armor piece in the game. Modifiers allow the Arc Sphere to gain 6 extra power equivalents, bringing its total power equivalents to 27. Compare that to the King Mantello's 23.7 and the Sunken Helmet's 25.7. There is absolutely no reason that you should not be using a modified Arc Sphere in this update. Obviously, the new Sunken Warrior set is the next most overpowered armor set or pieces behind the modified Arc Sphere. The Sunken Iron set was already strong, but since speed is the most important stat in the game right now, a Sunken set that gave speed was bound to be overpowered. Of course, Sunken Armor is hard to get and even harder now that there are 2 different Sunken sets. Sunken Iron is still decent if you're a mage who doesn't need that much size, but can be just as strong as Sunken Warrior if you want over 50 size. Since defense armor sets such as Titanium or Deluxe Iron have slightly more defense than boss armor sets, Cernix's set can be entirely replaced by a Crystalline defense set. This is not a major buff, but it does allow you to gain more primary stats by using Frozen or Blasted as the modifier. One armor piece that was buffed was the Pauldrons. The Caped Silver Pauldrons in particular gives 33 speed and 20 agility now. If we convert that into their power equivalents, that would be 17.7. With modifiers giving the equivalent of 6 power, this brings the Silver Pauldron's power equivalents to 23.7, which is the same as the King Mantello. Almost everyone should be using a modified Caped Silver Pauldron. Amulets received a sizable buff now that they can have modifiers. However, exotic jewels already hurt them massively. The Power Amulet is currently the best amulet with 32 power with the Blasted modifier. Compared to Cernix's Falls, which has 33.8 power equivalents if we include exotic jewels, amulets are worse than other accessories unless you want to get a ton of a certain stat. Agility amulets will still be a good way to quickly get agility for farming, but amulets in general are no longer optimal for a PvP build. Ideally, you can equip most armor pieces from the set, namely the full Sunken Warrior set, a modified Arc Sphere, and modified Silver Pauldrons. Here are some examples of these builds with and without Insanity or Sunken. If you want other stats, the Sunken Iron and Fallen King sets are still strong, and Cernix's set is still decent. With these options in mind, feel free to change some enchants or jewels to match your playstyle, and good luck creating your own armor build.